and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2023-24 season. My name is Dan and it's time for my Gameweek 26 team selection video. Guys, if you enjoy this one, make sure you do drop a like, and we're closing in on 200,000 subscribers. So guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. If everyone who wasn't subscribed did it right now, then we'd hit 200,000 subscribers today. So what are you waiting for? Guys, let's have a look at my Gameweek 25 scores first of all. So, Gameweek 25 was a surprisingly low score, 76 points, which is almost unbelievable. I don't even know how a team like this managed to score so low. I mean, triple Liverpool, triple City in a double game week, in a very nice double game week as well, and only Haaland scoring any significant points. And as a triple captain user as well in this game week, for him to only score 10 points, triple to 30, it's just not good enough, is it? I just can't believe what I'm seeing here. When I look at this team, I think, that looks so good. Pre-deadline, I was so confident. Everything looked amazing. I don't even know what the odds were of the likes of Kelleher, De Bruyne, Jota, Foden and Darwin all scoring 5 or less points in this double game week. The chances must have been so slim. But hey, that is football. That is FPL. That is what it's all about, and it's not always predictable. So we have to roll with the punches a little bit right now, guys. Disappointing game week overall for me. I think maybe if I had Ollie Watkins in my team, things would be a little bit different. But we've gone for João Pedro in this team instead. And since his injury, that's caused me some issues as well. So you can't predict everything, but we will try and predict more things in the future. Still, the red arrow wasn't too significant. 179k is still the rank, which is much better than I was last season this time. So I think there still needs to be a bit of optimism around the place. Let's see how we can line up for game week 26. So, 1 free transfers, 0.5 million in the bank. Let's see what we can do to fix this team with a blank game week ahead of us. We've got Dubravka in goal, first of all, because he's my only playing goalkeeper. My other goalkeeper is Kelleher. Obviously, transferred him in for Turner last game week. So, we've got Dubravka away against Arsenal. Am I expecting any more than 1 point? No, not really. At least Dubravka can make a couple of saves, but there's no such thing as a good goalkeeper in FPL, so whatever. In defence, guys, we have got Trippier, a player, and still not happy that I own. Not a player I'm keen on at all. But he is still in my team. Haven't found really a strong reason to remove him from my team yet, because there's always bigger issues in defender transfers. Seem to be a little bit of a waste of time. There's not really such thing, again, not really such thing as a good defender at the moment. At least Trippier has a little bit of attacking threat. Maybe he gets something against Arsenal, but somehow I doubt it. So not massively keen on Trippier this week. Again, not expecting more than 1 point, maybe even a 0-pointer if Arsenal score enough goals, which we know they can. Speaking of Arsenal, Gabriel is my next pick. Home game against Newcastle. It is a tough game on paper, given that Newcastle are a team that can score goals, despite the fact that they also concede goals. However, this is an interesting point. We looked at the odds, the clean sheet odds for this game week yesterday in yesterday's stream, and we found out that Gabriel and Arsenal actually have the highest chance of a clean sheet of any team in the Premier League this game week, which is quite crazy given the opposition. But that's just testament to how good Arsenal have been defensively. And of course, with Gabriel, you always have that little bit of goal threat for those corners, headers, back of the net, as we've seen so many times before this season. So absolute FPL legend Gabriel is. Next up is Estupinian. I know a lot of you guys are having questions about Estupinian. Is he going to start? Is he not going to start? The answer is, I don't know. Every game week, it seems to be a 50-50 thing. We wish that he started last game week. I mean, imagine what score he could have got against Sheffield United last game week, but it wasn't to be. What we have seen is maybe Estupinian plays one game, bench the next, one game, bench the next. So it kind of, he's back and forth, really, in the team. And last game, given the fact that he was benched last game, does that suggest that he is going to be played this game week? Maybe we're oversimplifying things a little bit and trying to read the mind of De Zerbi. The fact is, we don't know. But in a game week like this, you know, you have to kind of take your chance. A home game against Everton is a good one. They don't score too many goals, and Estupinian is always capable of a magic moment if he is on the pitch. So, do we know if he's going to be good this game week? No, we don't. And finally, Charlie Taylor, back from his injury, finally, in my defence here. Crystal Palace, a team lacking a lot of creativity and spark in their team at the moment. So, not really expecting too many goals from Palace in general. And could Taylor get a clean sheet in this game? I think there is actually a chance. So, those of you guys who held on to Charlie Taylor after all this time, could this finally be Charlie Taylor's time? Back in the limelight, back to becoming the FPL legend who usually sits on our bench, but is called upon in these crucial blank game week times, and maybe actually pulls through with a clutch moment. We've seen it before. Could it happen again? I don't know. It's a blank game week, guys. What's the most we're expecting for here? In midfield, we've got Kevin De Bruyne. Now, interestingly, last game, he was rested against Brentford. We kind of saw from Pep Guardiola in his comments in the press conference that he was kind of saying, well, yeah, De Bruyne, he is kind of carrying a little bit of a injury from before. He felt a little bit of tightness, so we weren't going to take a risk. He still made the bench, so it's not like he's been ruled out completely, but because that day he felt just a little bit of muscle tightness, he was given the opportunity to be rested. Now, is it a big issue? Well, according to Pep Guardiola, no, it's not a big issue. He's absolutely fine. It was just a one-day doctor's recommendation, just give him the one rest, but he was still on the bench, so this is not a big issue. We're not expecting him necessarily to be out for any significant period of time. I don't even think he'll necessarily be out for this game. Obviously, Manchester City do need to make sure they are staying on top of points at the moment, and Bournemouth is not exactly an easy fixture. They have been pretty decent this season, haven't they, Bournemouth? So I don't think this is an easy one. So will De Bruyne be called upon? Well, I think he might be. I think he might be. So, yeah, even if De Bruyne doesn't play 90 minutes, you know what he can do in 30 or so minutes as well. So I think he's still going to be a decent player to hold on to this game week, although I completely understand if people were to remove him. Would he be in my wildcard team, for example? Probably not. We've got Saka up next, Newcastle at home, who concede a whole load of goals, which is amazing if you have Arsenal attackers in your side. And Saka is the man in form on those penalties, taking a few over recent game weeks. Maybe has inflated his scores a little bit, but from open play, he's still constantly in dangerous areas, constantly looking to shoot and create for his teammates. He looks on fire at the moment, and he's no longer that wing-hugging midfielder that maybe we were talking about a couple of months ago. Saka is the man in form, probably in the entire Premier League right now, really is the form guy. Next up, we've got Diogo Jota in the squad currently. No fixture this game week, and an injury which could see him out for quite some time. Means that he is going to be a player to sell, but I don't have a full squad of 11 players for my starting 11 quite yet, so we are going to have to make some changes. Foden up next, Bournemouth away. Foden, no doubt about his game time at the moment. He is like as nailed on as it gets in this Man City team at the moment, which is amazing to see. We've always dreamed of having that nailed on Foden. It's been something that we haven't really seen in the past, but now we do have it, and man, is it looking good. So yeah, hopefully he can maybe make up for the fact that he blanked in the last couple of games and come back with some bigger scores against the likes of Bournemouth and Manchester United. But having a Manchester City attacker for 8 million who is nailed on is always going to be a good thing. So that's what we like about Foden. Up front, Erling Haaland. Again, same fixture. This kind of tricky game against Bournemouth. Like, I really want to put this one out there, guys. I don't think Bournemouth is the easiest fixture, but the thing is, Man City are that good. They are that team, and they really can destroy a team. Any team they play against to score a whole bunch of goals. It doesn't matter how difficult the opponent is. We've seen it time and time again, what Manchester City can do, and Haaland is going to be a big part of that. Now, if Haaland had maybe had the same amount of penalties that Saka had in recent weeks, we'd be talking about Haaland a lot more, because he's the penalty taker. He is a guy who's had so many chances to score, so unlucky not to haul last game week. He really, really was generating an insane amount of XG, had disallowed goals and stuff like that in the game. So this time, could it be different? I think it could be. So Erling Haaland, still a player you very much want to have in your FPL team. And finally up front, we've got Darwin Núñez, another player with no fixture who will be getting removed from my team this game week. On the bench, Kelleher, no fixture. João Pedro, a pain in my backside because he is injured for a long time. Well, at least a few weeks anyway. So he is going to be a player that I need to remove at some point. That transfer has turned out to be an absolute disaster, but I do count myself a little bit unlucky on that one because he looked like a phenomenal FPL asset, and he really is a tale of what could have been, but we need to move on regardless from that. Palmer on my bench as well, no fixture for him, and Pedro Porro, not just injured, but also no fixture, but Pedro Porro, apparently his injury is not too significant, so we could see him return to action in the near future, but not really much use to us this game week since he doesn't have a fixture. Anyway, so guys, with that in mind, we need to start looking at what kind of changes we can make. How can we field a full 11? Because that is the priority this week. Get 11 men on the pitch ready to go for game week 26. So first of all, who am I willing to sacrifice? Well, Dubravka and Trippier, the Newcastle guys. I'm not interested in Newcastle defence at all at the moment. I do need to get rid of them at some point. It's just a case of there's never a good opportunity to remove them, and this isn't a good opportunity to remove them either. Estupiñán could potentially be removed as well, but again, it's not really the game week to do it. I just feel like it's not the game week to do it. I know a lot of people will maybe be thinking about taking -4s to remove Estupiñán. I kind of understand why you might be thinking about that one if you really want to take a huge risk, but there's every chance that Stupinian does start this game against Everton, and if he does, things could actually look pretty good. So let's see what happens there. I think we have to roll with him for another game week. Unfortunately, it's just going to be another one of those players who you don't know what you're going to get from them. But blank game week 26 going to be a low scoring one, lower than average, so we can't expect too much. And I think the more hits and more wholesale changes you make to your team based on this game week alone, you could actually cause yourself some problems later down the line, and you know, you might see your score go even lower than perhaps it could be. On the bench, João Pedro, he needs to be sold at some point. Not really sure when. Again, is this the week to do it? Possibly, but probably not. Pedro Porro, similar situation. A player I don't really want to keep long term, but yeah, I think wildcard is definitely looming on my mind very, very soon, because there's a few players here that I do want to remove. The thing is, they're mostly players in the defensive position, and you don't gain too much from making defensive transfers. We've seen that more than ever this season. So do you just roll with the defenders that you have and kind of stick to making transfers in those more crucial attacking positions? Well, I think that's the play. Diogo Jota and Darwin Nunez, two players I do think I need to remove, because no fixture this game week. They've got a fixture against Nottingham Forest the following week, but after that it's a game against Man City, which is a little bit tough there as well. So I think it's kind of going to be reasonably straightforward to just remove Liverpool players this week. And I think most of you guys are going to be in the same boat. Remove those Liverpool players. You've got the likes of maybe Palmer that you keep on your bench if you still have him, and just move on and try and see if you can find some decent midfielders and forwards to go for. So we're going to talk about some of those options for our kind of replacements, our transfer targets now. So first of all, goalkeepers and defenders. I'm interested in going for Neto and Senesi for Bournemouth. They double in game week 28 and also have a favourable fixture against Burnley in 27. However, Bournemouth do play against Manchester City this week, so maybe it's 1 week early really to be going for those Bournemouth guys, but they're certainly still on my transfer targets list. Nori is really the only defender I would consider buying this game week, I think. Consider strongly anyway, because he does have a nice fixture against Sheffield United and poses a lot of attacking threat as well. But it's really the midfielders and forwards I'm looking at this game week, with Ødegaard on my kind of targets list. Really would like the idea of going for some more Arsenal players. They've got some nice fixtures coming up over the next couple of game weeks, so that could be pretty nice. Add to the Saka with an Ødegaard. Ødegaard showing a little bit more form recently, which is pretty nice. And aside from that, we've kind of got the Wolves midfielders. Neto and Hee-Chan looking good. Hee-Chan is the player with the better underlying data compared to Neto. Neto is more of a, I don't know, he's more of an exciting player to watch perhaps, but Hee-Chan really is the guy. Good chance Hee-Chan is on penalties as well, although we could see Sarabia take penalties. 4.7 million, if anyone's wondering about Sarabia, by the way. I did have a look at him before recording this video, but it looks like Hee-Chan is the midfielder to go for right now. So bring on the Hwang, let's go baby. For forwards, Watkins and Solanke. These are the two players I need. Watkins, I was kind of, and maybe, I don't know, if is it unfortunate? Watkins is a fantastic FPL option, but I never expected him to score, you know, the amount of points he scored in game week 25. Did not see that coming at all. Maybe that's my own poor foresight, I guess. But yeah, certainly always a player that I was looking to bring back in this week. It really was meant to be a Darwin 2-week punt and then back to Watkins in game week 26. So I think we do need to stick with that plan, and Darwin back to Watkins is going to be done. And Solanke is the other forward I would think about going for. Yeah, again, similar situation to the other Bournemouth guys. Is this Manchester City fixture 1 game week too early for Solanke? Maybe. Solanke's numbers still look very, very good at the moment. Another player on penalties, and you never know when he's going to come in clutch. Is it worth going for him as well? Maybe I can move João Pedro to Solanke, possibly, and do Watkins in for Darwin as well. I guess those are my options. So, A, stick with the plan. So stick with the original plan. That will be Diogo Jota and Darwin out for Hee-Chan and Watkins. This is always what I wanted to do. It will be a -4. It was originally going to actually be for free, but I ended up doing Turner to Kelleher last game week. We'll see if that pays off in the long term. But yeah, I'm not really worried about taking a -4 this week, because it's kind of a planned -4. Not really an issue there. And I think it really improves my team. And just doing these 2 free transfers would give me a full starting 11 in theory, as long as nobody is benched or, you know, rotated or injured at the last minute or anything like that. Doesn't make the squad. And this is where plan B comes into play, because if I get even a whiff of an idea that I'm not going to be able to field a full 11 for game week 26, then I might have to take an additional hit, take a -8, bench Charlie Taylor provisionally, but then maybe Taylor has to come on and deputise for another one of my starting 11, and that will be Jota, Darwin and João Pedro out for Hee-Chan, Watkins and Solanke. I can afford to do this, which is very, very nice. Make that final upgrade from João Pedro to Solanke, and it would improve my team a lot. The problem is, it is taking a -8, and can Taylor actually outscore Solanke this week if you include the -4 as well? think there's a very good chance that that could happen indeed. If you think about it, Solanke, if he scores 1 goal, maybe gets a maybe a 6-pointer. Well, Taylor is probably good for a 2-pointer this game week as well against Crystal Palace. So, is it worth it? I don't know. I don't know if it is this game week to make that additional transfer unless we get the idea that actually maybe a De Bruyne is unavailable for this game week, in which case I would make the move and take an additional -4 for Solanke if we get the news. I don't know. Estupiñán is not going to be available or whatever. We get some early team news, we get some early team news, then that is going to push me into the decision. Now, luckily we've got a late deadline this game week, so we are going to get early team news, hopefully, for a few of the 3 PM kickoffs. So that might help really make a few decisions in FPL this game week, guys. So yeah, make sure you join for our deadline stream this weekend on Saturday, where we'll hopefully have more early team news than we normally would because of all of those 3 PM kickoffs. But anyway, there's one final idea, and that's to just wildcard now. Like I mentioned, there's a few issues in my team that I want to deal with. I wanted to deal with for a while, but can never really find a good reason to do it. Maybe just wildcarding it and just sorting the team out might be the best idea. However, I really want to wait for more information in Game Week 27. After this Game Week 26 deadline, we're going to see the FA Cup games happen between the Game Week 26 and 27 deadline. And during that time, we're going to get so much information about blank game weeks in 29, future double game weeks as well. Huge amounts of information, and we'll be able to basically map out the rest of the season in terms of doubles and blanks, because right now, everything is a little bit mysterious. So maybe wasting one more week for the wild card is going to be the best idea, and just kind of bite the bullet on the likes of Trippier and Dubravka. Just hold my hands up and say, I'm not expecting many points for them, but who can I honestly replace them with that would score points anyway? These are defenders and goalkeepers. They don't get points. That's how FPL works this season, apparently. So, yeah, there we go. Those are my options. Now, right now, you guys probably got the impression already, but I think we're going to stick with the plan. So, yes, guys, we are going to be transferring out Jota and Darwin Nunez for Hechan and Watkins, and this makes my team look better, actually. Better. In a much stronger position. We're still in a 4-4-2 formation, which is not ideal. There is a chance that maybe a Estupiñán doesn't play or a De Bruyne doesn't play. I think the rest of the players I have here are pretty nailed on, other than maybe Charlie Taylor. Yeah, but the rest of the players, I think we're looking pretty good. And I think, again, for Game Week 26, it's going to be a low-scoring game week. We can't expect too much. And I think if you've got a nice Hechan in there for his upside, Watkins in there, Saka, and some of these Manchester City guys, you're always going to have a chance of a decent score in FPL. It might not be a 70-point-plus week. It really might not be that. But still, could be okay, considering the fact it's a blank. We're going to captain Erling Haaland this game week. I toyed with the idea of going for a Saka or a Hechan or a Watkins, but I think this is probably not the week to take a risk. Not really feeling it. Haaland is the guy. Penalties, you know, obviously an amazing striker who gets an insane amount of chances to score goals. If you can put a few more of them away this game week, that would be pretty nice, wouldn't it? And it would be kind of ironic, wouldn't it, if Haaland actually ends up outscoring his double game week this game week. You can definitely see that happening. This is the world of FPL we live in after all. Vice captain is going to go on Saka as well, and that completes my team for Game Week 26, unless we have to make that extra João Pedro to Solanke move, which we'll decide on deadline day. So just looking at the Fantasy Football Hub My Team tool, because I do want to look ahead to Game Week 27 to see what kind of moves I could make then as well, because we do need to be planning a little bit. And I think for me, the move is potentially just to do a kind of maybe a move of to get Solanke in for the Burnley game could be pretty decent. But I think looking at my team, do I actually need it? I mean, looking through here, the team actually looks pretty strong for Game Week 27, and I wonder, if I was to get Solanke in 27, then who would I be benching? Would I bench Hechan against Newcastle, Palmer against Brentford, or maybe one of the Manchester City guys against Manchester United? I'm not actually sure, so do I even need to do that? If I'm planning a wild card either in Game Week 28 or maybe a free hit in 29, then I need to kind of think about this a little bit. But yeah, I'm waiting for more information, guys. I think I'm going to do one of those things. We spoke a lot about chip strategy in yesterday's stream, so if you want to see what my kind of plans are, then please do go check out that. But I think I'll be doing one of two things, either wildcarding in Game Week 28 or free hitting in Game Week 29. And depending on what I do, it's going to have a big impact on the decisions that I make. But I don't want to commit to anything too early because so much can change. But at the same time, I need to kind of get an idea of if would I want Solanke against Burnley? I feel like I kind of would. Could I maybe go for a Spurs asset, you know, Son Heung-min against Crystal Palace at home for game week 27 as well? Yeah, definitely a few different options, particularly if they're a 1 week punt before a game week 28 wildcard. That could be kind of interesting, couldn't it? So yeah, lots to come over the next week, lots to think about, and I can't wait to share some more solidified plans with you, but that will all come after the FA Cup results. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you wouldn't mind dropping a like, that would be massively appreciated. Do subscribe if you're new around here as well. Remember, if everyone who watched this video subscribed right now, who wasn't subscribed already, would hit 200,000 subscribers today. So let's see if we can get as close as possible. But aside from that, guys, make sure you go check out another video if you'd like to. Like I say, stream talking chip strategy, huge video last night. Go check that one out. But aside from that, I'll see you tomorrow for a final decision video and on Saturday for a deadline stream. Bye-bye.